All right, everyone, it's time to talk about stock market insanity. The other day, markets were down about 1,500 points. Then they recovered, and then they sort of petered out and leveled off. So down generally, but not a catastrophic loss. This is predicated largely on Donald Trump's tariffing policies. This was entirely expected. If you are going to cure cancer, for example, you're going to have to go through chemotherapy or radiotherapy or something else drastically unpleasant. That's exactly what our economy is doing right now. What happened is that for decades, literally like more than half a century, the US government pursued a policy in which it effectively ignored the fact that other countries were tariffing our goods to death and we weren't doing anything about it. This became a problem in the end. A handful of people very wisely suggested if we have short-term losses but long-term gains, maybe that's a better policy. Maybe we can actually do something about it. That's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. I support his tariffing policy in general. Now, when he makes the threat of tariffs towards other countries, the markets will react poorly. They're not going to be happy about it. Oh my God, we're going to lose customers. We're going to lose money. This was entirely expected. I assure you that somebody with the business acumen of Donald Trump probably understands this. He knew full well what he was doing. The whole point is to hold the tariffs over the head of foreign nations and say, look, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. You can reduce your tariffs. You can remove your tariffs. You can end tariffs on certain goods. We're tired of dealing with your bullshit. Other countries bitching and complaining about Donald Trump's tariffs are being complete hypocrites because they've been doing the same thing for like 50 goddamn years. France, Canada, so-called close allies of the United States have been tariffing our goods, in part or in whole. It sort of depends on the kind of industries that they have. They've been tariffing them to an excessive amount for an excessive period of time. Why are we the evildoer, therefore, for reacting to this? It makes absolutely no sense to me. Apparently, it makes sense to them. Trump understands, though. Their leadership is going to come to the table and they will parlay with us. That is, you might not get a complete reduction of tariffs to zero or something like that. Vietnam, by the way, pledging a zero tariff. I will be covering that separately. I appreciate that. The Vietnamese are pretty fucking based, actually. Other countries, though, maybe they reduce a 30% tariff to 20%. Maybe they get rid of a couple of their tariffs. Maybe they reduce something, it's like a 100% tariff, now it's 10%. Perfectly fine. What we're looking for is a significant but ultimately not complete improvement of trade relations with other countries. This is something that no other president has had the balls to actually engage in. Other presidents before Trump had the opportunity to do exactly what he's doing, but they didn't dare to because they knew that there would be economic tumult. But Trump can't run for re-election again. He's on his second term since he has nothing to lose, and he knows that the system is going to be aimed against him regardless of what he does. Doesn't matter if he rocks the boat or not. So he's rocking the boat. He's doing that on purpose. He thinks that it will pan out and it will work well. I happen to agree with him, by the way. Short term, what you're going to get, economic downturn, you're going to get poorer trade relations with certain other countries. Some of them will hardline you. And there's nothing that you can do about this. But if we don't do this, if we don't engage in this kind of behavior, what ends up happening is eventually the United States goes Byzantine mode and is basically the bitch of the world. You're not allowed to do this because we say no. When did we elect you as our masters? I thought the American people were the masters of the United States. That was kind of the entire point. If we're not able to engage in fair trade with you, therefore, oh, maybe we need to fuck around with you and you can find out for a change. That's just the way that it's going to work. It doesn't mean, by the way, that any specific American, certainly not myself, has any problem with people from foreign nations. I don't give a shit what the average Vietnamese person does. You're perfectly fine by me. You haven't fucked me over. I don't hate the French. I don't hate the Germans. I don't hate the Ukrainians. I don't hate the Polish. I don't hate anyone in the world. Brazil, Argentina, name a country. I will name 99% of the population as perfectly acceptable to me because they're not trying to fuck around with me. But in the macroeconomic sense, there's a little bit of a problem. And it's not a problem, by the way, involving these foreign nations even directly. They have gotten away with doing this because of the dysfunction of DC. It was our own government selling us down the goddamn river. Our own government is the only government in the world, if you're on US soil at least, that can actually prosecute you, that can do anything to you, that can fuck around and screw you in the ass with regards to taxes, your rights in general. They can spy on you. Your own government is your own worst enemy. It's refreshing, therefore, to have a president, an executive leader, who at the very least is sane with regards to the issue of economics. It's very, very refreshing to me. I'm not worried about the stock market. And I noticed something else. Very, very strange, by the way. The same liberals that a couple of years ago, when the stock market was, having iffy issues, they said, well, Wall Street's not Main Street. All of a sudden, as of yesterday, Wall Street is definitely Main Street. Oh, what a sea change. Imagine that. Hypocrisy. We've never seen that in politics before. The same people that were trying to convince you that the stock market literally didn't matter when it was, falling before under the Biden administration, as it did, are now telling you that the fact that the stock market tumbled a little bit because of a refresher policy, as you could call it, and that's probably what Trump should use as a slogan. This is my refresher policy. That could work. All of a sudden, yeah, it really, really matters. Dow Jones is basically Main Street. Standard and Poor, which I believe actually was slightly up, actually, at the end of the day, that matters too. Less if it's up, of course. And the NASDAQ, of course, with tech stocks and things like that. They mean everything to the world now, as long as they're falling. The second that they rise back up, as they are, and will, it no longer matters so much, now does it? It's very, very interesting how that works. It's an inversion of the kind of coverage that you saw under the prior administration. It's astonishing to me, by the way, that people don't notice this. It's really, really sad when you think about it. That's about all. Peace out.